After Landman Season 2, Episode 2, Tommy Norris issues are already becoming worse, and there are some significant revelations from the most recent episode to consider. In the Landman Season 2 premiere, Tommy was already coping with his mother's passing, but now he also has to deal with his father. Additionally, Cooper is adding to his already burdensome issues with M-Tex. But Tommy's issues are far from over. An old villain from Tommy's past just reappeared in his life. Angela and Ainsley were in prison at the retirement community, and Monty had many secrets that were revealed after his passing. Tommy had a lot of new problems to deal with in Landman Season 2, Episode 2, and it's worth looking into each one more thoroughly. At the very end of Landman Season 2, Episode 2, the most significant development occurred. Tommy spent the entirety of Episode 2 attempting to ascertain the identity of Sonrisa, the financial company that had supported Cooper's acquisition and drilling operations on his small land holdings. Eventually, Neil found Sonrisa's leader, and even though it was only a photo, Tommy could easily identify them. It was evident that Sonrisa was founded by Gallino, the cartel leader from Landman Season 1, even though they didn't mention his name. Despite using the alias Dan Morel, Gallino's picture was on the form. It appears that Gallino has a public persona as a Dallas financier in addition to being a prominent member of a Mexican cartel. Gallino prevented Tommy from being killed by cartel boss Jimenez at the conclusion of Landman Season 1. Gallino told Tommy that the cartel wanted to collaborate closely with him as they entered the oil business after saving him. Additionally, Gallino made it apparent that Tommy would have no say in the situation, even though it appears that he hasn't spoken to Tommy since Landman Season 2. Cooper is in the worst situation possible because Gallino founded Sonrisa. Cooper's too-good-to-be-true contract terms indicate that Gallino and his cartel most likely have something illegal in mind for Cooper and his wells. Although it's too soon to tell what kind of trouble Cooper is in or how Tommy will fit into Gallino's plans, it's safe to say that Tommy and Cooper will face many challenges. It's evident from Episode 2 that Monty's offshore natural gas rig deal will be a major issue in Landman Season 2, so it's important to learn more. Unfortunately, understanding the deal's specifics requires familiarity with the oil industry and is complicated by financial figures and legal jargon. Fortunately, Landman provided enough details for the audience to understand the main points of the situation. A hurricane destroyed Monty's offshore gas rig. Following the natural disaster, his insurance company paid out $420 million, but it was legally mandated that the funds be used to rebuild the oil rig. While the rig was being rebuilt, Monty somehow persuaded the insurance company to pay the entire amount in one lump sum rather than in installments. In Landman Season 1, however, Monty used the $420 million to purchase new oil fields. Cammy, Tommy, and M-Tex are now responsible for using $420 million that they do not have to rebuild an offshore oil rig that they were unaware of. M-Tex still needs to rebuild the rig, but Rebecca was able to find enough flaws in the insurance company's breach of contract lawsuit to prevent a trial. Additionally, they have a very short window of time to restart the rig because Monty ought to have started repairs before he passed away. In Episode 2, Sam Elliott, who plays T.L. Norris, the largest new addition to the Landman cast, also made some significant revelations. Although we were already aware that T.L. is Tommy's father, the most recent episode provided us with additional details about Tommy's upbringing and their relationship. Let's just say that Tommy didn't have wonderful parents or a wonderful upbringing. T.L. was an abusive alcoholic, as was partially revealed in Landman Season 2, Episode 2. Tommy said that in an oil field, T.L. worked himself almost to death until his leg and back were destroyed. Additionally, he said that Tommy would be beaten up by T.L. for his mistakes. For his part, T.L. believes Tommy simply robs people and doesn't do a good job. Tommy's mother, Dorothy, was no better. Tommy clarified that Dorothy had a cocaine addiction when he was younger and that it is reasonable to assume she had dementia later in life because she passed away in a memory care facility. According to T.L., Dorothy's addiction destroyed the aspect of her that he loved and transformed her into a cruel person he believed was headed to hell. It appears that Tommy moved both of his parents into retirement communities as quickly as possible. When Cammy went to Monty's former office and started looking through his desk and computer, it was one of the more perplexing scenes in Landman Season 2, Episode 2. Landman did not disclose what, if anything, she discovered at Monty's office, and she did not specify what she was searching for. Fortunately, some context clues allow us to deduce what she probably discovered. One of the attorneys said that Monty had a lot of secrets during Rebecca's meeting earlier in the episode. Given that Monty was able to complete the offshore drilling deal under dubious conditions and without Tommy or Cammy being aware of it, that lawyer was probably correct. Therefore, it makes sense that when Cammy searched Monty's office, he discovered proof of his dubious business practices. Although the specifics of what Cammy discovered are unknown to us, it's reasonable to assume that they are questionable at best. Monty was able to receive payment up front for a very dubious offshore oil rig deal. Cammy needs to be aware of any additional dubious business transactions he may have made while he was alive in order to avoid being taken by surprise once more. The Sins of the Father episode of Landman emphasizes the complex relationship between Tommy Norris and his father, TL. Additionally, it gives viewers a closer look at the tumultuous relationship between Tommy and his son Cooper as they try to resolve their issues. Cooper's breakup with Ariana, who was unable to manage the risks associated with his job, has left him still devastated. In an attempt to decompress, he travels with Tommy to see TL and starts organizing his mother's funeral. Cooper learns the full impact of his father's horrific past throughout the episode. Cooper and the audience finally understand how much Tommy has endured, from his mother's addiction to his father's abuse. After Tommy apologizes to his son for not being a more present father, the situation becomes even more poignant. After the two reconcile, viewers can finally witness Cooper crying and expressing his grief. Thornton described how this scene made him reflect on his children and his complex relationship with his own father, which truly touched his heart. He described how he acted out this scene by drawing on his real-life experiences, which caused him to feel a wide range of genuine emotions. Some of the most personal and vulnerable moments in the Landman series can be found in this episode. Decades of suffering that have plagued and molded the characters are revealed. The show stands out from the others in its genre thanks to the actors' unvarnished performances and Sheridan's brilliant writing. With more episodes ahead, the series proves far deeper than just another drama. Although Ainsley Norris is obviously a kind person, a lot of people in Landman seem to despise her. Tommy Norris and his ex-wife, Angela, are attempting to rekindle their relationship with their daughter, Ainsley, who is headed to college. Ainsley lived with her mother and Angela's second husband prior to moving into Tommy's shared rental house in Midland, Texas, in the first season of Landman. Angela shaped Ainsley into a follower of her mother, who imparted to her open-minded daughter her wisdom regarding men, marriage, children, and money. Tommy, as well as viewers at home, is shocked by blonde, attractive 17-year-old Ainsley's candor about having sex with her football player boyfriends. But Ainsley is rarely cruel, irate, or disobedient. Despite being ignored and treated that way on a regular basis, Ainsley is not a negative presence. People in Landman seem to despise Ainsley despite her good qualities. Ainsley Norris is publicly despised by most adults in Landman, beginning with Tommy's legal pals. Ainsley is a continual source of distraction for Nathan, who works from home. Rebecca Falcone, meanwhile, doesn't even try to hide her complete contempt for Ainsley's attempts to make friends. Greta Stidham, the admissions counselor at Texas Christian University, told Ainsley outright how much she hated her in the premiere of Landman Season 2. Gretel was utterly unprofessional, in Ainsley's defense, but in this instance, Ainsley's ignorance worked to her advantage. Ainsley was unaffected by Greta's taunts and only learned that she had been accepted to TCU. Ainsley is despised in Landman and by some viewers, and Greta's distaste for him is a microcosm of this. Despite her appearance, Ainsley is far from flawless. Greta was horrified by Ainsley's ideas about eugenics, even though Ainsley had no idea what eugenics was. Ainsley lives in a bubble that her mother created for her. She is pampered and conceited. However, neither Tommy nor Angela brought Ainsley up to be cruel, heartless, or uncaring about other people. Ainsley is constantly asking people around her if they would like snacks, and she truly enjoys going with Angela to cheer up the elderly. There is much to like about Ainsley if you look past her outward appearance, but most adults who encounter her in Landman don't bother. Billy Bob Thornton has discussed the duration of Landman after Season 2, outlining his plans for the oil-themed drama's future. The second season of Landman, which premiered on Paramount+, follows Thornton's Tommy as he struggles to manage M-Tex following Monty's passing. The show is also well suited for future storytelling because of its grounded, business-driven focus. Thanks for watching. For more updates stay tuned and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel, please.